IKARI, the legendary form of a Saiyan we don't know much about, carries such immense power within that it leads us to the following point. Open quotes. The bastard is a genius. Close quotes. You already know who I'm talking about, right? Goku didn't just observe Broly, but also Gohan, who carries IKARI within him. And now the moment has come for him to bring this into his reality. And I'll prove it to you. So go ahead, subscribe, leave your like, and activate the bell. Share this with your friends. The IKARI form, for those who still don't know, is the most primitive and brutal manifestation of Saiyan rage channeled in its purest essence, without the need for a complete transformation into an Ozer. It emerged with Broly in the movie Dragon Ball Super, Broly, as a natural response to his hidden power being forced to surface. It keeps the body in a humanoid form, but drastically increases strength and combat instinct. The eyes turn yellow, the hair spikes slightly, and the aura becomes greenish and dense, as if the ancestral rage of the Saiyan race flows directly from the core of the being. Unlike traditional transformations that require key control and conscious evolution, IKARI is more of an unconscious release, an emotional response that brings out the giant ape power within Saiyan blood. It's unstable, ferocious, and can only be mastered by those with immense willpower, or by a Saiyan with total lack of control, sometimes even getting lost in the process. But now that we know what IKARI really is, what does Goku have to do with it? We know he's a pure-blooded Saiyan, meaning he also has this inside him. Even if hidden, this gained even more depth through the way he transforms into Super Saiyan 4 in Dragon Ball Daima, which is essentially official. It's canon. There, through Neva, he connects to this, filtering his unconscious and traveling through the Saiyan legacy, as seen in the anime. This happens because he feels those roots flowing. At the end of Dragon Ball Daima, he explains that what he became, Super Saiyan 4. He tells Vegeta that after so many warriors, and even Kid Buu, he kept training, just not knowing if it would work. It actually worked only because of Neva's help in those moments and the situations themselves. But after some time, he didn't use it again, at least in Dragon Ball Super. But leaving that aside, he connected with even deeper roots of the universe, that is, Ultra Instinct, and these roots entered him in such a way that he became a mortal capable of achieving such a feat, something even the gods of destruction haven't fully mastered, which is why they stood in awe when he reached the silver-haired form of Ultra Instinct, even if only partially complete. I believe he may have unlocked this after the ritual to become a deity and understand divine power through Super Saiyan God. So technically, he is now a mortal who has ascended a level above, although many have reached the same heights without performing any ritual, like Vegeta and Frieza. I didn't mention Gohan, because he did something similar back in Dragon Ball Z, except there he awakened his hidden self, which further proves that Scions had mystical connections in the past. But this is a very delicate topic for another, more specific video. After everything I've said about Goku's genius, let's get to the fact. Goku will achieve the wrathful form, and that's undeniable. But you must be wondering, how? I'll answer. Goku has been watching not only Broly, but also Gohan walk this thin line between having and fighting not to lose reason. In this case, hidden power. Son Goku, although less apparent than Gohan, also possesses this hidden power. The point is that he unlocks Super Saiyan against Frieza, then Ultra Instinct, and also Super Saiyan 4 in a hidden way, even with training in the case of the SSJ4 form. And here lies the secret. 3 key things happen for this turning point, where he will now unite usefulness and instinct. Let's go to the summarized details. After that, I'll make a more complete analysis. Goku trained with Broly, fought against him, and fought against Gohan, the same ones who possess Wrathful. Broly even more clearly, and Gohan in an intermediate way through his beast form. Goku absorbed all this just by fighting Gohan and letting Broly fight, after Gohan broke his Ultra Instinct on that occasion. Gohan explained how he did it, open quotes. I increased my power to the point where I wouldn't lose my consciousness. Close quotes. Broly, hearing this, was also able to control his form, managing to stay in the base form of IKARI. So, even Broly quickly understood what Gohan meant. And so did Goku. That means he could bring his Saiyan lineage to the point where he wouldn't lose control, and apply that while using Ultra Instinct. For those who still doubt it, let's go back a little to before the end of that arc, when Goku is still in the Granola, the Survivor Saga. Son Goku has always been driven by an endless search for strength. But after so many years of battles and training, he began to understand that true power doesn't just lie in physical strength. It lies in the origin, in the heart, and in the essence of who you are. When he finally learned more about his father, Bardock, and about the past of the Saiyan race, something changed inside him. Bardock wasn't just a ruthless warrior or a Saiyan like the others. He showed signs of compassion, protection, and even resistance against the cruel fate his race faced. This revelation not only touched Goku emotionally, it also awakened in him a deep spiritual connection to his roots. For the first time, Goku wasn't just training to surpass his limits. He was trying to understand what it truly meant to be a Saiyan, to understand where his fighting instinct came from, his willpower, and even his compassion amidst brutality. This inner journey led him to a new form of evolution, Ultra Instinct, a technique indirectly taught by the angels that allowed his body to move on its own without thought, was always divine, distant and almost artificial to the warrior essence of the Saiyans. Goku realized that, even though it was a perfect combat technique, it took him away from who he really was. He felt he was leaving behind the heart, emotion, and rage that made him a unique Saiyan warrior. It was in this internal dilemma that he started seeking something beyond. Not a divine technique that would erase his emotions, but an evolution that embraced all of his being, mind, body, and Saiyan heart. As he deepened this state, he reached what is now called true Ultra Instinct, a form in which he no longer denies his emotions but controls and channels them with clarity. In this new stage, Goku not only reacted with his body but also with his soul. He accepted his anger, his love, his pain, and his will to protect. And instead of suppressing these feelings like classic Ultra Instinct demanded, he used them as fuel, maintaining serenity on the outside and controlled fury on the inside. This subtle balance between emotion and technique opened a new portal within him. And that's when he felt, almost like a scream across time and blood, the call of Saiyan ancestral power. It was as if the spirit of the Oozuru roared inside him, as if the restrained fury of his race, erased by civilization and the destruction of his planet, was waiting for this moment to manifest. He didn't need to physically transform into a giant ape, but the instinct, savagery, and power of the Oozuru were latent inside him. And with mastery of true Ultra Instinct, which allows for balance between mind and emotion, he could finally tap into that power without being consumed by it. It was a fusion of absolute control and primal rage. It was the birth of a new kind of warrior. Goku then began to experiment with this new state in intense training, meditation, and internal battles, guided by Whis, but now also inspired by figures like Gohan, who showed that evolution doesn't depend solely on divine technique, but on self-awareness and mastery of oneself. The figure of Bardock, the spirit of Oozuru, and the strength of Ultra Instinct all merged within Goku, not as separate forms, but as parts of the same destiny. He was getting closer and closer to becoming not just the strongest Saiyan, but the most complete in his entire lineage. In short, that's it. So with that said, and knowing that not everything is perfect, he loses the battle against Gohan, even in his current, strongest Ultra Instinct state. He finds himself broken once again, first by Frieza, and now by Gohan. It was everything he needed to finally take action. But how will that happen? Anyway, the chapter ends as they go back to Earth. Goku hands over the key to Earth to Gohan, setting the stage for the end of Z, where he will leave to train with Ub. The end of Z is the popular name given to the ending of the original Dragon Ball manga, written by Akira Toriyama. It represents the events that take place 10 years after Majin Buu's defeat and is also interconnected with Super, being the final chapters of the main storyline before the beginning of Dragon Ball GT, although GT is no longer considered canon. These chapters depict a world at peace, with an older Goku, Gohan already settled with Videl and their daughter Pan, and the martial arts tournament approaching once more. It is in this tournament that a new boy named Ub appears. He is the human reincarnation of Majin Buu, but without the evil. After Majin Buu was defeated, Goku asked Enma, the judge of the afterlife, for the villain not to be erased from existence, but to be reincarnated as a good person. And so Ub was born, a simple, poor, and shy boy who lives in a distant village, but holds within him an immense dormant power inherited from the old evil Buu. In fact, he already appeared in Dragon Ball Super, helping in the fight against Moro. During the tournament, Goku realizes the boy is special, and the two engage in an intense fight. Goku holds back his power to test Ub and ends up provoking the boy, who, once irritated, releases part of his immense hidden power. Impressed, Goku decides to train Ub personally, leaving his friends and family to go with him. This act symbolizes the passing of the torch, as if Goku were preparing the next generation of Earth's protectors. It's a peaceful ending, but full of meaning, closing the story with hope and continuity, and at the same time beginning a new phase now that we have Dragon Ball Super. And there with Goku will train this form. We don't know if someone will be supervising or not, but we'll get plenty of information about the training, and the result will be none other than Ultra Instinct IKARI, or Wrathful if you prefer. There's another cool fact: the Oozaru roar from Goku during Ultra Instinct, which can be interpreted in different ways. Some fans see it as a symbolic manifestation of the raw and primordial power of the Science that still lives inside Goku, even when using such a refined and controlled technique as Ultra Instinct. Others believe that this roar might be Goku's way of channeling all his strength and determination in a moment of extreme need, invoking the Science ferocity to raise his power. Although the Oozaru roar is not a specific technique or transformation, it serves as a powerful reminder of Goku's roots and the emotional intensity he can bring into battle, even when he's in a state of clarity and serenity provided by Ultra Instinct. It's a moment that resonates with fans and highlights the complexity of Goku's character and his continuous link to his Saiyan heritage. Still, even as he goes to train with based on what we've seen of the Wrathful form, we know it couldn't be used together with traditional Ultra Instinct, since that technique doesn't allow the user to think, let alone feel rage, as that would compromise its stability. And that's where true Ultra Instinct comes in. You might be wondering, is it possible to combine this new form or evolve it so that it can be used together with the Wrathful form? Yes, it's possible that true Ultra Instinct is related to the Wrathful form, even though they are distinct concepts in the Dragon Ball universe. True Ultra Instinct is an evolution of Ultra Instinct, a technique that allows the user to react automatically to any opponent's movement, with each part of the body acting independently from consciousness. This advanced form was achieved by Goku during his fight against Gas, when he manifested Ultra Instinct with black hair, applying his emotions alongside the technique. This suggests that Goku may have found a way to harmonize his Saiyan emotions with the calm and clarity of Ultra Instinct, which could in fact open the door to a connection with the IKARI form, which is a direct expression of Saiyan Rage. The IKARI form is the manifestation of Saiyan Rage, allowing the user to access the power of the giant ape without full physical transformation, which results in a major power boost while retaining a humanoid form. If Goku, by perfecting true Ultra Instinct, manages to integrate his Saiyan emotions, this might allow him to access a state similar to IKARI, but with the control and precision of Ultra Instinct. And let's be honest, he has already done unimaginable things before. I'll mention just one so we don't take too much time. Super Saiyan Blue Kaioken. Kaioken is a legendary technique taught to Goku by King Kai during the Saiyan saga back in Dragon Ball Z. It allows the user to temporarily multiply their strength, speed, and energy, pushing the body beyond its normal limits. The visual effect is a red aura surrounding the fighter, and the higher the multiplier, like Kaioken X2, X10, X20, the more power is released, but it also becomes more dangerous to the body itself, potentially causing serious damage if used without control. For a long time, this technique was set aside because Goku reached higher forms like Super Saiyan, but with the arrival of Super Saiyan Blue, it got a second chance. Super Saiyan Blue, also known as Super Saiyan God Super Saiyan, is a divine form that combines the power of Super Saiyan with the godly key of Super Saiyan God. It first appeared in Dragon Ball Super, the result of Goku and Vegeta's training with Whis after the events involving Beerus. Blue is extremely powerful, but also very demanding in terms of control and stability, unlike the more common Saiyan forms. And it is exactly this control that allows Goku to dare even more. He decides to apply Kaioken on top of Super Saiyan Blue. This happens for the first time in the fight against Hit, during the Universe 6 tournament. In a critical moment, Goku realizes that the blue form alone won't be enough against Hit's time skip technique, and then he risks what seemed impossible, fusing the divine transformation with the old technique that forces the body. He yells Kaioken X10, and his aura transforms into a whirlwind of blue mixed with red, symbolizing the clash between divine power and explosive Kaioken energy. It's a striking scene because it shows how far Goku is willing to go, even putting his body in extreme danger. Goku himself admits that prolonged use of this state could break his body from the inside, and still, he uses it when there's no other way. Mastering this combination wasn't shown in detail through training, but rather as a strategic and desperate decision. Goku reveals that he had been training in secret, trying to apply Kaioken over Blue because he noticed that, unlike previous forms, Blue had the stability needed to support the energy multiplication without destabilizing the ki. Blue demands calm and concentration to maintain its balance, while Kaioken demands the opposite, explosion and sudden release. Together, the two create a paradox of power that only someone like Goku could control, a hurricane trapped inside a bubble of calm. Over time, Goku becomes better at mastering this combination and uses Blue Kaioken in other battles, like against Zamasu and Jiren, though always with caution. Prolonged use is still dangerous, but in critical moments, it's one of Goku's most powerful cards to play. It's the union of the old with the new, the technique of the gods with the brutal energy of a warrior who never stopped evolving, even with his body at the limit. So back to the main topic again. In summary, while True Ultra Instinct is a technique that involves mental clarity and instinctive reaction, the Ikari form is a transformation that channels Saiyan Rage. Integrating emotions with Ultra Instinct could, theoretically, allow Goku to access a state that combines aspects of Ikari with the refined technique of Ultra Instinct. This would represent a synthesis between raw power and combat skill with a clear and focused mind, creating a new powerful form that reflects the true essence of a Saiyan warrior. Oh, and keep in mind that in the manga, we haven't seen this form in Broly. It appears only in the movie. It's not known if it was cut or simply ignored, so Goku could be the pioneer of this transformation.